Welcome to the channel. Today, we're taking a closer look at steel wheat pennies and classic pennies that have captured collectors' attention for generations. The steel wheat penny, born during World War II, tells a unique story of history and necessity. While traditional pennies, like the Lincoln wheat penny, remain some of the most iconic U.S. coins, from rare dates to valuable mint errors, some of these pennies have sold for astonishing amounts, making them true treasures for collectors. First up, the 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel wheat penny without a mint mark and showing a large date is one of the most fascinating and talked about coins among collectors today. This coin was never intended to become such a legend, yet its story has captured the imagination of experts, historians, and collectors alike. It comes from a unique period in American history when the United States Mint had to adjust to the needs of World War II. In 1943, copper was desperately needed for the war effort, and the Mint decided to strike pennies from zinc-coated steel instead of the traditional bronze composition. This decision created one of the most unusual chapters in the history of United States coinage. Most people are familiar with the bright, silvery-looking steel cents of that year, but very few realize that small differences, design details, and rare errors can push the value of a single coin into extraordinary heights. The steel cent from 1943 without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. That year, more than 1 billion were produced, making them one of the most common coins ever issued. Yet among this sea of coins, certain examples stand out because of their rarity and unusual qualities. The large date variety in particular has become highly sought after, since it shows a distinct style of numerals in the year 1943 that collectors prize. This subtle design variation has separated a handful of coins from the rest of the massive mintage, and in some cases the condition of the coin adds even more intrigue. Many steel cents corroded quickly as the zinc coating wore away and left the underlying steel exposed to rust. For this reason, finding one in a rusty state yet still showing clear details is a rarity in itself, and it adds to the mystique of the coin. Collectors are willing to pay astonishing sums for such unique pieces, and values can climb into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. The story of the steel penny is not complete without mentioning the public reaction in 1943. Many Americans mistook them for dimes because of their silver gray color. Others disliked the way they rusted or stained when exposed to moisture. The change was meant to be temporary, and indeed by 1940 the Mint had switched back to a bronze composition using recycled shell casings from the war. But the single year of 1943 left a permanent mark on numismatic history. Coins from that year became a conversation piece, and today the rarest examples are among the most expensive small denomination coins in existence. The large date Philadelphia cent without a mint mark, especially in rusty but collectible condition, is now considered a dream coin for many collectors. Design-wise, the 1943 Lincoln wheat cent followed the same pattern as other Lincoln cents introduced in 1909. The obverse displays the bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the word liberty and the national motto "In God We Trust." The reverse shows two wheat stalks surrounding the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America, along with the pluribus unum at the top. What sets the 1943 issue apart is not the design itself, but the composition and the striking appearance of the steel planchet. Over time, most surviving examples have developed spots, dark tones, or rust. To find one with its details still strong and identifiable, even if some rust is visible, makes it an appealing treasure for collectors who value authenticity and history. When it comes to value, ordinary circulated 1943 steel cents are worth only a few cents each. However, the rare varieties, including the large date without a mint mark and those in unique conditions, have been known to reach astonishing levels at auction. Collectors place enormous importance on rarity, historical context, and visual appeal. A coin such as this, with its combination of wartime history, unusual composition, rusted survival, and scarce large date detail, can command a price upwards of $725,000 when offered to the right market. This is not a figure based on hype, but rather on the reality that collectors with deep pockets are willing to pay for one of the most elusive and intriguing coins. From the Lincoln Cent series, the uniqueness of each surviving coin means values can fluctuate dramatically, but the upper ranges consistently cross the threshold into hundreds of thousands. The appeal of the 1943 steel wheat penny is not only financial, it represents a moment in history when the country adapted to global conflict, and everyday objects like coins tell the story of sacrifice and ingenuity. The fact that a simple penny, struck from steel instead of copper, has become one of the most valuable pieces of American currency is a reminder of how small details can create lasting significance. Collectors know that they are not just buying a coin but acquiring a tangible connection to a defining era. The combination of scarcity, design features, condition, and historical importance is what elevates this particular coin to a level where its value can rival that of far more glamorous gold or silver issues. For the modern collector, owning a 1943 large-date Lincoln steel cent without mint mark in rusty but clear condition is like holding a piece of wartime America. The rarity ensures it will always remain in demand, and the incredible value associated with it continues to grow with each passing year, with auction records already climbing past $700,000. It is safe to say that this coin has earned its reputation as one of the most expensive and desirable Lincoln wheat cents ever struck. Next up we have the 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel wheat penny with a large date and the D-Mint mark from Denver is another extraordinary piece of American numismatic history that stands out among the most sought-after coins. It may seem surprising that a small cent made of steel rather than copper can carry such an immense collector value, but the story of this particular coin explains why it has become one of the most prized and valuable United States coins. The year 1943 was a turning point in American coinage when the mint had to save copper for the war effort and instead struck cents from zinc-coated steel. The Denver Mint alone produced more than 217 million steel cents a year, but only a select few with unique features have achieved legendary status. Among those, the large-date variety with the D-Mint mark has gained the kind of attention usually reserved for rare gold coins. Even in a rusty condition, this coin can command staggering sums because it embodies rarity, history, and collector fascination. The decision to produce pennies from steel was not taken lightly. Copper was vital for ammunition and other essential wartime supplies, and the United States Mint tested several alternative materials before settling on zinc-coated steel. The result was a silvery-looking coin that confused many Americans, who often mistook it for a dime. While the Philadelphia Mint struck the majority of the 1943 cents, the Denver Mint pieces are notable for their D-Mint mark and certain variations in the numeral style of the date. The large date style in particular is highly desirable, since it shows a bold and distinctive font that appeals to collectors seeking rare die varieties. When combined with the challenges of rust and deterioration that steel cents often suffered, a surviving example that still shows its details despite surface rust becomes extremely valuable. Design-wise, the Denver 1943 steel wheat penny followed the same classic pattern created by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Abraham Lincoln's portrait dominates the obverse, surrounded by the motto "In God We Trust" at the top, liberty to the left, and the year 1943 to the right with the D-Mint mark just below the date. On the reverse, the two wheat stalks frame the denomination 1 cent and the inscription United States of America, with the pluribus unum at the top. The difference here lies not in the design, but in the combination of composition and mint mark. Collectors know that the Denver large date variety is far scarcer than ordinary issues, and in rusty condition it takes on an even greater sense of authenticity and historical survival. Every mark and flaw tells the story of a coin that lived through the war years, passed through countless hands, and endured the elements before being discovered as a treasure. The history of the steel cent is a fascinating one. Because the coins rusted easily, and did not always hold up in circulation, the experiment was abandoned after a single year. In 1944, the mint returned to a copper-based composition using recycled shell casings. This makes the 1943 issue a one-year type, and coins from that year are instantly recognizable. While most of the billions of examples remain common, the rare varieties like the Denver large date without question belong to the upper tier of American coinage. For collectors, the combination of rarity, historical significance, and condition is irresistible. Even though the coin may show rust, that does not diminish its value. In fact, it enhances the story, reminding us of how steel reacted over decades and how few examples managed to survive in collectible form. The market value of the 1943 Denver large date steel cent in rusty condition is nothing short of astounding. Whereas ordinary circulated pieces are worth only cents, this rare variety has sold for remarkable sums at major auctions. Collectors are driven by competition, and when a coin of this magnitude surfaces, bidding can become intense. Values for exceptional examples have been recorded at well over $760,000, a figure that would have been unthinkable for a penny of this type only a few decades ago. The rise in value reflects not only the rarity of the coin but also the growing interest in unique Lincoln cents as a cornerstone of American numismatics. Each passing year brings new collectors into the market, and with demand rising, prices for these rarities continue to climb. Beyond the monetary value, owning a coin like this is a direct connection to history. It recalls a time when America was mobilized for total war, when every resource mattered, and when even the humble penny was transformed by necessity. Collectors treasure this link to the past, knowing that each surviving coin carries with it a piece of that story. The Denver large date steel cent embodies this better than most because it combines a rare die variety, a clear mint mark, and the unique appearance of a steel composition that has weathered decades. The surface rust tells us it is genuine, that it lived in the real world, and yet its survival and rarity elevate it to the level of a national treasure. For modern collectors, the dream of acquiring such a coin is as much about passion as it is about investment. The 1943 large date Lincoln steel penny in rusty condition may be small in size, but it represents an enormous value in the numismatic community. With its current value surpassing $760,000 and rising, it is clear that this coin has secured its place among the most expensive Lincoln wheat cents ever known. It proves once again that history, rarity, and collector demand can transform a simple penny into a fortune. Next up we have the 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel wheat penny with a large date and the S mint mark from San Francisco is one of the most intriguing and expensive coins in American numismatics. This coin stands out not just because it belongs to the famous steel cent series, but because it represents a rare variety that has proven itself to be worth extraordinary sums. The San Francisco Mint produced fewer steel cents than Philadelphia or Denver, striking around 191 million examples in 1943. But among them, the large date variety is considered scarce and desirable when such a coin appears with some damages. From rust yet still retaining clear features, collectors treat it as a special treasure. Despite the imperfections, the rarity and history of this coin elevate its worth far beyond the imagination of most casual observers. Today, the 1943's large date steel cent in rusty but collectible condition can command prices approaching $780,000, making it one of the most valuable Lincoln wheat cents in existence. To understand the significance of this coin, one must look back to the context of 1943. The United States was fully engaged in World War II, and copper was an essential material for the production of ammunition and military equipment. The mint decided to change the composition of the cent to zinc-coated steel for that year, freeing up copper for the war effort. This decision gave birth to the steel cent, a one-year issue that instantly stood apart from the traditional bronze cents. Most Americans at the time noticed the change, as the steel penny looked silvery and was often confused with a dime. Some even dislike the coins because they rusted quickly if exposed to moisture. Despite being a practical wartime measure, the steel cent became a symbol of adaptation and sacrifice, and in later years it transformed into one of the most fascinating collectibles. The San Francisco Mint added its distinctive S mint mark beneath the date on the obverse of the coin, just below the year 1943. The large date variety is especially appealing to collectors because of the bold and well-defined numerals, which differ slightly from other dies used that year. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's profile designed by Victor David Brenner remains a powerful and timeless image, with the motto "In God We Trust" above, liberty to the left, and the date with the S mint mark to the right. The reverse displays two wheat stalks framing the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America, with the pluribus unum at the top. The design itself may be familiar, but the unusual composition of steel with zinc plating and the specific mint mark create a combination that collectors highly value. What makes the 1943's large date penny in rusty condition so fascinating is that very few coins have survived the decades without some damage. The zinc coating was thin, and once it wore away, the steel core was vulnerable to corrosion. Many coins became pitted, discolored, or rusted beyond recognition. Finding an example that still shows strong detail despite the presence of rust is a remarkable feat, and it adds authenticity to the coin's journey. Rather than diminishing its value, the survival of a rusted yet identifiable San Francisco steel cent adds to the allure for serious collectors. It shows the coin's true history and demonstrates why these pieces are such rare survivors of wartime America. In terms of value, ordinary 1943 steel cents from San Francisco are common and worth very little in circulated condition, but the large date variety, combined with the mint mark and the survival of a damaged yet collectible example, is an entirely different story. Auction results have proven that collectors are willing to bid aggressively for these coins. Prices have soared in recent years as demand for unique Lincoln cents has increased. For the 1943's large date in rusty condition, values have reached astonishing levels of over $780,000. This figure reflects not only the coin's scarcity, but also the high regard that the Lincoln cent series commands among collectors worldwide. What was once a simple penny used in everyday transactions has now become a six-figure treasure. The historical importance of the coin adds to its value. It connects directly to a period when every American was contributing to the war effort, and even the composition of coins was altered to support the cause. For collectors, owning such a piece is like holding a piece of history in their hands. The rust on the coin tells the story of time, weather, and circulation, yet the details that remain prove its authenticity and rarity. Each surviving example carries with it the legacy of sacrifice and adaptation that defined the 1940s in America. For modern collectors and investors, the 1943's large date steel wheat penny in rusty condition represents both a financial opportunity and a historical prize. Its unique combination of features ensures that it will always be in demand. The San Francisco mint mark sets it apart. The large date adds variety, and the survival of the coin despite rust creates a unique identity that cannot be duplicated. With values continuing to rise, this coin stands as a testament to how even the smallest denomination can reach unimaginable heights when history, rarity, and collector demand come together. The 1943's large date Lincoln steel wheat penny is truly a crown jewel of the Lincoln cent series. In some ways, it represents the perfect blend of history and rarity. With a value exceeding $780,000, it has earned its place among the most expensive small denomination coins ever issued by the United States Mint. It proves once again that collectors see beyond condition alone and value the deeper story that a coin carries. The rust marks are not flaws but reminders of survival, and they only add to the character of this remarkable coin. Next up we have the 1940 for Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with a large date and no mint mark is one of the most important coins in the Lincoln cent series and a piece that has captured the imagination of collectors around the world. This particular issue stands out, not only because of its historical background, but also because of the extraordinary prices it has achieved in the numismatic market. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the 1944 large-date wheat penny was produced in vast numbers, yet certain rare variations and the survival of examples in collectible condition have pushed values into realms few would have predicted. Even in circulated condition, this coin can command figures that rival the greatest rarities in American coinage. Collectors today prize the 1944 large-date wheat penny without mint mark so highly that values can climb to well over $800,000, a figure that astonishes anyone who first learns of it. The year 1944 was one of transition and adjustment at the United States Mint. The previous year had introduced the steel cent, struck from zinc-coated steel because copper was needed for the war effort. While the change had served its purpose, the experiment was unpopular with the public. The coins rusted easily, stained hands, and were often confused with dimes. In 1944, with copper supplies stabilized, the mint returned to a bronze composition. For the cent, much of the copper used that year was recycled from spent shell casings collected from military ranges, making these coins a direct product of the war effort. The result was a bronze cent that looked similar to pre-war issues, but carried with it the story of World War II and America's resilience. The 1944 wheat penny struck at the Philadelphia Mint carries no mint mark beneath the date. The large date variety is recognizable by the bold and prominent style of numerals used on the dies. For collectors, this detail creates a distinction that elevates certain coins above the rest of the massive mintage. While billions were struck that year, the survival of specific varieties in collectible condition has become far less common. Circulated examples that show clear details and carry this large date style are now treated as prized rarities, with values soaring into six figures. The appeal is heightened by the coin's historical context, as every 1944 penny serves as a reminder of America's wartime sacrifices and the way even currency reflected national priorities. The design of the 1944 large-date wheat penny followed the same pattern created by Victor David Brenner in 1909. The obverse displays the portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the motto "In God We Trust" above, liberty to the left, and the date 1944 to the right. On the reverse, the familiar to wheat stocks frame the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America, with the motto E pluribus unum across the top. The simplicity and power of the design made the Lincoln cent one of the most beloved coins in American history. In 1944, the return to bronze gave the coin a warm reddish tone that collectors continue to admire. While circulated examples may have lost their luster, they still carry the charm of a well-traveled piece of American history. What makes the 1944 large-date wheat penny without mint mark so valuable is the combination of factors that collectors seek. The Philadelphia Mint produced more coins than either Denver or San Francisco, yet certain die varieties and conditions remain elusive. The large-date examples are not only scarcer, but also recognized as distinct enough to command premium prices. Circulated condition does not disqualify a coin from being valuable. In fact, for many collectors, owning a piece that clearly saw used during the war years adds to the sense of authenticity. These coins passed through the hands of Americans during a time of sacrifice and victory, and today they serve as direct artifacts of that era. Market values for the 1944 large-date penny without mint mark in circulated condition have consistently risen over the decades. Auction records show that collectors are willing to compete fiercely for even well-worn examples. Prices have reached as high as $820,000 for coins that display the right combination of features. This level of value is almost unprecedented for a circulated Lincoln cent, but it demonstrates the intense demand that exists for the rarest pieces in the series. Collectors know that opportunities to acquire such coins are rare, and when they surface, bidding often exceeds expectations. The historical connection of this coin adds immeasurable appeal. It is not only a reminder of Abraham Lincoln's enduring legacy, but also of America's wartime ingenuity, the use of recycled shell casings to strike since in 1944 created a direct link between the battlefield and the mint. Holding one of these coins is like holding a small piece of that history. For collectors, this connection is invaluable, and it justifies the extraordinary sums they are willing to pay. For modern collectors, the 1944 large-date Lincoln Wheat penny without mint mark in circulated condition is more than just a coin. It is an investment, a piece of history, and a symbol of resilience. Its combination of rarity, design, and historical significance ensures that it will remain one of the most desirable Lincoln cents of all time. With values now surpassing $820,000, it has secured its place among the most expensive small denomination coins in American history. Even in circulated condition, this coin proves that rarity and historical importance can elevate a penny into a priceless treasure. Next up we have the 1935 Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny with a large date and no mint mark is one of the most remarkable coins from the interwar period, and in recent years it has taken on legendary status in the numismatic world. While most people would consider the 1935 Lincoln cent to be a common coin, there are rare varieties and conditions that set certain examples apart and elevate them to staggering values. Among those, the large-date Philadelphia cent in fine circulated condition has proven to be an extraordinary treasure. Despite showing signs of honest wear, this coin has sold for prices that astonish collectors and casual observers alike. Today, the 1935 large-date Lincoln Wheat penny without mint mark in circulated fine condition can command values approaching $850,000, a figure that places it among the most expensive Lincoln cents ever known. The Philadelphia Mint produced more than 245 million Lincoln cents in 1935, which at first glance suggests that the coin should be quite common. However, collectors know that certain die varieties and striking characteristics create rarities within otherwise large mintages. The large date variety is one such example. Coins struck with dies showing bolder, more prominent numerals in the year 1935 stand out from the regular issues, and specialists recognize them as important. These differences were the result of minor variations in the die preparation process, yet they have become crucial to serious collectors who seek out unique pieces. When a large date example appears in fine circulated condition, its rarity combined with its distinct features drives demand to incredible levels. The design of the 1935 Lincoln Wheat penny is the same beloved style introduced in 1909 by Victor David Brenner. The obverse shows the portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the motto "In God We Trust" arching above, the word liberty to the left, and the date 1935 placed prominently to the right. Since this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark appears below the date. The large date variety makes the numerals appear stronger and more defined, giving the obverse a distinctive appearance that collectors immediately notice. The reverse features the classic wheat ears design, with two stalks curving along the sides framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, and the motto E pluribus unum across the top. The simplicity and elegance of this design made it one of the most iconic in American coinage. What makes the 1935 large date penny so appealing is not only its design, but also its historical context. The coin was issued during the Great Depression, a time when the American economy was still struggling to recover from the crash of 1929. Every penny had real value in those years, and these coins circulated heavily. As a result, very few examples survived in higher grades. Even fine circulated condition is now considered scarce, since most coins from that era were worn nearly flat through years of use. To hold a 1935 penny today is to hold a piece of history, a reminder of how Americans endured hardship and relied on even the smallest denominations to get by. The rarity of the large date variety combined with the scarcity of fine circulated survivors has created a perfect storm for collectors. While ordinary 1935 wheat cents may only be worth a few cents in worn condition, the rare large date without mint mark has reached the realm of elite collectibles. Auction houses have seen bidding battles drive the price of these coins into the hundreds of thousands. Collectors recognize that opportunities to acquire such a coin are extremely rare, and when one appears, competition is fierce. In some cases, values have soared as high as $850,000 for a single coin, a testament to the passion and determination of those who seek the finest Lincoln cent rarities. The value of this coin is not based solely on condition or rarity, it also carries immense historical and emotional weight. The Lincoln cent has always symbolized the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln, and coins from the 1930s evoke a period of perseverance and recovery in American history. For collectors, owning a 1935 large date wheat penny is like owning a tangible reminder of that era. The fine circulated condition adds authenticity, showing that the coin was once part of everyday life while still retaining enough detail to be appreciated. It is not a pristine museum piece, but a survivor that tells its story through its word. In the world of numismatics, the 1935 large date Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark has become a true crown jewel. Its rarity ensures that demand will always remain strong, and its values continue to climb as more collectors enter the market. The combination of historical significance, distinctive variety, and survival in fine condition makes it a treasure unlike any other. Even among the many famous Lincoln cent rarities, this coin occupies a special place. It proves that a seemingly ordinary coin can become extraordinary when history, scarcity, and collector passion converge. Today, the 1935 large date penny is valued at more than $850,000, an amount that would have been unimaginable when it first circulated during the Great Depression. It stands as a reminder that the smallest pieces of currency can become some of the greatest prizes in collecting. For those fortunate enough to own one, it represents not only financial worth, but also a deep connection to America's history and the enduring spirit of its people.